Alright, moving on to the chariots. These are like the lowest level of physical attack demons. Thor is one of the most prominent of Norse deities and is probably the most famous one known so far. He is often said to have basically ride a chariot through the sky drawn by goats, and it's said that thunder is often caused by the hooves of these goats against the sky, and Mjolnir, his hammer, is often associated with lightning as well. He's actually famous for many stories, as far as, for instance, his exploits in the Jotunheim, which is the realm of the giants. In Ragnarok, is said that he kills the world serpent. Unfortunately, he dies from its venom, but his descendants, I think, survive him after Ragnarok. Koumokuten, there isn't really much that describes him. There's four heavenly deities, two of which are classified in the Chariot Arcana in Persona 3. And they stem from Buddhism, and they are also carried over into Chinese Taoism, and additionally into Japanese, which is where the names of these stem from. So he basically is associated with the West from the looks of it. I haven't really found much about him so far, but if you want to correct me on some of this, go ahead. I'm open to any criticism or anything that you want to clarify that I did not cover, so go ahead. Nata Taishi, I think he is called Neja in Chinese myth, but he isn't so much a god as he is kind of like a folklore hero, but he's still pretty much high up there. He's often associated with deception and trickery. He is mentioned in briefly from when I was reading Journey of the West as one of the opponents of Wukong, as he tried to actually pacify Wukong, and he was able to shapeshift and battle him, but unfortunately Wukong beat him up badly. He's usually said to have a spear and also a ring, which explains the cuffs, but he's also said to ride on fiery wheels, which explains why you see him riding on those fireballs. Oumitsunu, I am not entirely sure about where he's from, but I think since this actually sounds a little bit like he's probably related to one of the terrestrial deities, basically before Ninigi took over. Scylla, if you're wondering what it is, it's actually another word for, it is the ancient word for Korea, the Korean peninsula, and that is how many cultural exchanges have occurred between China and Japan. But also Scylla was taken over in ancient times as well, which stems from the myth of Sora, which is the sea deity that gave the emperor the gems to alter the height of the oceans. Ares is one of the most famous of the Greek gods. He's and one of the Olympians. He's basically a god of war, and is pretty much immortalized as far as the gaming community is concerned, as the main antagonist in the first game of the God of War series. Ares is often also associated with Aphrodite, which is the love goddess, and there have been occasions where he actually did try and meet up with Aphrodite, but Hephaestus caught him in one circumstance. He did have a guardian trying to watch out for him, but because he failed, he turned him into a rooster. He's also the father of the gods Deimos and Phobos, which mean fear and terror. Next one, Zouchouten. It's the god of the south. I think he is also, as far as the Taoist description of this deity, I think he is one that actually carries a sack or whips. And in the sack there's usually a mouse. But that's just the Taoist description, so there is still some license to that. He is again one of the four heavenly deities. The other two so far is Bishamonten, which is classified under the Tower Arcana, and Koumokuten, which is classified under the Strength Arcana in Persona 3. But in Nocturne and also in Imagine, they're classified as the same under the same family. Chimera is basically one of the most famous Greek monster, and Typhon and Echidna have also been the father or the parents of many other famous monsters. For instance, one of them being Cerberus and Orthus. I think also some other ones include the Nemean lion, Ladon, which is the dragon that guards the golden apples. But Chimera was slain by Bellerophon, and thinking that he was a god, he descended into heaven via Pegasus. Unfortunately, Zeus sent him earthbound and basically killed him. Chimera is kind of immortalized as, scientifically, as kind of like a hodgepodge or a creature of different characteristics. And the last one is Ara Mitama. There's basically four Mitama described, and these ones specifically look like the yin-yang symbols. And I think this probably stems from, vaguely from Chinese culture, where or I think carried into Japanese, there are three worms that exist in the human body that usually report back to one of the deities about the actions of their host. But I think this is just kind of like practices, kind of like Confucianism, so to speak, philosophical aspects that are cherished and also passed along. I think it's probably true with this that he's associated with aggression, so I'll finish this here.